I have Major Mohommed Ali Shah, who's a defense expert, joining me on the broadcast. Good morning, Major Shah, and thank you so much for joining this morning. Now, sir, Ukraine, we're getting to know, is now inculcating the supplies of US F-16. Sir, how do you think that it's going to boost US troops or US defense system, keeping in mind that the Russia-Ukraine war is still ongoing?
That's a very fine question, very good question. You know, the trouble is, now, see, with F-16, it's got such a high-end technology. The Pakistani aircraft, the fighter aircrafts, are all F-16 from the US. Now, when US supplies F-16s to Ukraine, they will have a very big boost to them. I mean, Ukraine, as it has been able to pull through the war for almost a year now, and the kind of technology, the kind of weaponry, the kind of armament being supplied to them from the Western powers, from US, from UK, from different NATO countries, it is actually, it's going to be a very big challenge for Russia to actually try beating that. So now when they get F-16s, I'll give a small example over here for everyone to connect. Everyone saw in February 2019, when Group Captain, that time Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman, gave a chase to Pakistani F-16s on a MiG-21 Bison, which is vintage aircraft, and he dropped an F-16 as well. And he was there. He was the man behind the machine for us, for our Indian soldier. But here in Ukraine is using advanced technology. They are using advanced methods, which may not be of Ukraine origin. Fine, that's, as I say, all is fair in love and war. They are getting it from the West, but when they have F-16, they have a very big advantage over, because it's very high-end technology, very, very high-end technology. So it will be a tough fight for Russia, for that matter, to beat an F-16, for that matter.
All right, Major Shah. Now we're also getting to know that Germany has also stepped in to help Ukraine and enhance their defense forces. Sir, how do you view these developments, keeping in mind that Russia is not stopping their attacks? There are constant shellings, constant attacks happening in Ukraine.
Germany was the first one initially to step into it, and they supplied Ukraine armament like helmets, bulletproof jackets, small arms basically. So Germany had helped Ukraine in the initial, when the war was in the initial phases of the war. Now Germany has stepped in wholeheartedly, full steam ahead, and they are going to be, and it was expected. I'm not surprised by the gesture that Germany has come forward and they are supporting Ukraine. We knew, all of us knew that Germany ultimately would be supporting Ukraine in this, and Russia cannot do anything much about it. Russia will have to just try to put on the fight unless and until the war comes to an end, or there's a ceasefire declared, or there's something actually happens there. There has to be a miracle now, because the war has gone a bit too far now, a bit too far. I mean, imagine hearing of a war which is lasting for a year, Fida. So Germany is going to give full support to Ukraine. There is no denying that, and there's no doubt about that. And Russia should also be alert about it. It's about time, actually, the war should actually just now, it should just come across, and if somebody, a country really genuinely wants to actually help out, genuinely from their heart, and not profit on the war, then they should just come and bring the two tables somehow. Nothing in this world is impossible. They should somehow try to get them on the table and talk and finish this war.
Now, Major Shah, also we have been discussing that there have been reports suggesting that Vladimir Putin had come to a global forum and said that he is agreeing to a ceasefire. But, sir, with the developments taking place, with the constant Russian attacks on Ukraine, and Ukraine now trying to step up its defense forces as it's now deployed US F-16, how do you think that this ironical turn of events that have happened, like after the Russian president saying that it's ready for ceasefire and then still trying to attack Ukraine, is going to come up? And how do you think that India can be a major player right now, stepping in, trying to curb this situation and then get a recognition globally?
Brilliant one. I mean, this is a question which comes to everyone's mind, in fact. And now, see, let's talk about December 1st week, 2022, when before the year came to an end. Now, President Zelensky addressed the American Congress. A day after that, President Putin told President Joe Biden that he is not interested in prolonging the war further, which is again, as what you suggested, that he was interested in a ceasefire for the war to end. So everybody was speculating perhaps now is a time that peace would prevail. But within a few hours, in fact, a few hours I would call it, we had Russia sending in over about 100 missiles into Ukraine and bombarding Ukraine once again. So what did we read out of it? We read that Russia said that they would be interested in peace, but now they're bombarding Ukraine, and Ukraine came out with allegation and counter allegations that this is happening and there is a human rights issue, that this is happening. And then Russia also has accused Ukraine of hiding their arms and in their nuclear power plants. So that would be really lethal, in fact, very, very lethal. Because so now when these kind of information warfare and acquisitions happen, we do not know whether the war would actually come to an end now, but it doesn't seem like the way President Joe Biden is fueling the fire, the way President Zelensky doesn't refuse to give up, the way President Putin is adamant, and President Zelensky, in fact, he suggested a few days back, in fact, in Switzerland, in endurance, when he said that that he wonders if President Putin is still alive or not. And at the World Economic Forum, when he was addressing everyone, he said, and I don't know who's taking the decisions on behalf of President Putin in Russia, where all that is happening. So there were rumors, there was a lot of news earlier coming in that President Putin has got cancer, or he's unwell, or he's probably living his last few days. And then there was other news coming in that no, President Putin is absolutely fine. He drove a car all by himself, went somewhere, so he's fine. So this information warfare goes on from both the ends. But now the very fact that how can India help? India has done its bit. India was the only country unheard of in the history of the world. You talk about ancient days, you talk about Battle of Panipat, Battle of Buxar, you talk about from those times I'm talking about. Have you ever heard, or has anyone heard of a third country stepping in, a third party stepping in and calling for a ceasefire, for a humanitarian corridor, for the war to actually stop for a few hours? Nowhere. You can check anywhere. It's never happened ever, but it happened. India stepped in, and to the extent that our not so friendly neighborhood, Pakistan, was flying Indian flags on their buses to prevent fire upon them, because to see it like a Swaksha Kavaj, to see it like a protection that, okay, we have Indian flag, we would be safe and secure. In fact, last year, in the month of March, April, we saw so many diplomatic visits. We saw so many head of states coming into India. And India did play its part. See, Israel, Turkey, and India. I would say these countries played their part. India, a crucial part. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has very good terms with President Putin as well as President Zelensky. So we are totally non-aligned. We are totally neutral. We are self-aligned, rather, I would say. And on one hand, we are also buying oil from Russia. On the other hand, US, though they had a problem initially, they hinted at certain things when President Joe Biden called India's stand shaky, and he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. And we gave a befitting reply. Our Minister of External Affairs, Mr. S. J. Shankar, gave a befitting reply to the international community that what India does is absolutely justified, and we will look after our concern. Now, what India can do is, now coming to your question, we can actually try to, it's very tough. It will be very, very tough, very, very challenging, no doubt about that. But we can try getting the two on the table and for a talk. As our Prime Minister, when we took over the presidency of G20 summit, he said the world should indulge in diplomatic engagement, in diplomatic ceasefire. There should be diplomatic ties. And only through diplomacy is possible. So yes, India can play a crucial role, a crucial factor in getting peace over there, Faiza.
All right, Nijis Shah.